So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Zohaib, and I'm delighted to be your host on behalf of Dengage. At Dengage, we are passionate to help businesses deliver data-driven customer experiences in order to build a stronger engagement, better retention, and ultimately measurable growth. Today, we have a very special guest, Monis, who is from MCB Funds. With years of experience in financial experiences and customer engagement, Monis has been leading the digital transformation journey at MCB Funds. The purpose of our discussion is very simple to explore how data driven engagement strategies can help and empower the growth in financial services through the lens of MCB Funds experiences. While today's story is rooted in finance, the lessons we'll uncover are relevant to any institution looking into improving their onboarding, retention, or their personalization. So, with that, let's get started. Now, I would like to get to know more about your previous experience. Now, if you can briefly introduce MCB Funds, your mission, customer base, and the role of digital engagement in your business. Monis.
Sure. First of all, thank you. Thank you, Zoe, for having me on board. So, just to briefly give you a description about MCB Funds, basically, MCB Fund is one of the largest asset management company in Pakistan, with almost about 225,000 customers that we're serving across Pakistan and managing their assets worth of 500 billion plus. So, what we actually offer is mutual funds and pension funds with a diversified portfolio of different asset classes to meet the customer needs. In simple words, what we do is we actually help customers save money, and rather than save money, invest in the right places so that they can earn some profits. So our customer base is very diversified. Every customer has a different need based on their saving habits or their investment needs. So every customer differs. So this is where we needed our digital journeys in investor onboarding and retention. That's why it plays a very significant role. How do you onboard a customer and how do you retain a customer? And as I said, that every customer is different. Therefore, the requirement of automations and personalization is very different to every customer.
Okay. Now, before moving on to de-engage and working with us, what were some of the main engagement or marketing challenges your team was facing?
Basically, since I mentioned we have a huge customer base, so it became really difficult for us to reach the right customer with the right message at the right time. And with the growing customer touch points, you cannot have one size fits all sort of a content anymore. You can't make an email that can go out to every customer and every customer can connect and react to it. So the content needs to be structured to ensure it caters the right audience segment. So we're talking about investments here. So, and everyone's saving and investment habits are different to one another. For example, you may have a different way of saving, and I may have different. So it caters to, it depends on customer to customer. So with manually creating segments and sending out email just became a big nightmare for us because we can't actually send out millions of emails based on the different segments that we have and based on the different triggers that we have to different customers. Because again, one size fits all value content that doesn't exist. So this was one of the major concerns that we had, that we wanted to send out the right message to the right customer. Another major concern was a lack of real-time automation, where the current segment of the customer is changed. For example, if I have a customer who's actually a smaller customer at the moment, and then he is supposed to grow into a different one, if that is happening, the system wasn't aware of it. So we needed something which could identify the automations, and while the automation is being identified, it could cater to this relevant trigger points to that segment. So these were the main problems or the challenges that we were facing before having the Engage on board.
Okay. And while you were exploring for other platforms, why did you choose de-engage specifically amongst other tools?
While we were, so this is a really interesting question. We actually needed a platform that supported dynamic customer journeys based on behavioral triggers. For example, if I'm saving and if I'm doing some investments, um, in the lifetime I'll have some growth as well. I'll have some more money as well coming in. So my habit would change. So we needed something that could identify the customer habits based on the savings, based on the way their lifestyle is changing. And based on that, we wanted to have the behavioral triggers that changes the segment of a customer from a smaller segment to a bigger segment. So we started researching through many platforms. and many of the off the shelf products were based on the same principles, and very little flexibility was there.
Okay.
De-engage, on the other hand, took the time to understand our business firstly. So we had a lot of meetings with your team back and forth where they understood the business. And based on our KPIs, um, the tool was molded to accommodate our KPIs. So it's not, again, so the KPIs that we have are very different to our e-commerce company or different,
Mhm.
but then again, the journey is the same. So you have to, you know, bring a customer from a smaller to a bigger bracket, and then lifetime value has to change. So we have the similar lifetime value KPIs, but the KPIs that we had to be changed, and De-engage did it really well. So we didn't have a lot of problem. It was very smooth. It was really quick. Even the onboarding process, it was smooth. It was really quick and it was simple. Our IT teams didn't have a lot of issues, and took us around, if I'm not wrong, took us around 3 months or less to fully onboard and initiate the first campaign.
That's great. And what are some of the changes that you initially did or actions which your team took once you started working with the Engage? If you can explore on those avenues as well.
So, first and foremost was to introduce the segments based on the value of the customer.
Mhm.
Then we define the logic tree, who to engage, who to reactivate, who to upsell. Let me share my screen as well. That would make it easier to understand.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you can see on the, let me start the slideshow. So, so basically, first what we needed was to have the customer segments defined. So we introduced the segments based on the value of the customer. Then we define the logic tree, who to engage, who to reactivate, and who to upsell, maybe cross sell. So this was the initial where we actually defined premium, platinum, gold, and silver customers. And then further, they were subdivided into if somebody is a non-investor who hasn't, so he's open an account, but he is not still a customer with us, he hasn't invested, or he's an active customer, so we need to upsell or cross sell, or he's a zero funded, as in he's opened account, he's done some investment, but he's now taking out the investment. So we are actually trying to reactivate him. So we were very clear on our objectives that we wanted to achieve, right? Which I believe most businesses actually lack when onboarding tools, because what happens is we onboard a tool, but we don't use it completely. Understating the true value of a tool is to make sure that you understand the complete tool and then you utilize it that way. So our major focus has been customer onboarding, customer funding. So those customers who have open accounts not yet invested, and if customer has then increased their investment, basically cross sell and upsell. So these were the first customer segments that we started producing.
okay. And how did you use the customer data to further enhance on them? When it comes to,
So
for example, how did you use de-engage to create personalized content or journeys?
So what happened with the when it came to like segmentation, we started segmenting the customers based on the investment tiers. Like for example, if somebody, for example, the silver customer, if
Hmm.
he has a capacity to save 25,000 rupees or more, then he'll be marked as silver. If he has a capacity of saving up to 50,000, then he's marked as a gold customer, and then 100,000, and then 400,000, and so forth. So these were the initial segments that we had, and then we knew that we need to dynamically include the similar sort of trigger points for each segment. For example, even if we have a silver segment where the customer behavior is similar to the customers in gold, because they might be investing but they're not investing much, or if they've invested once but they haven't invested again. So we knew the capacity of a customer, that he is a gold customer, he can invest more, but he just needs that push, or he just needs that relevant trigger point to push him. So how we did this was that for a silver customer, we knew his investment requirement is less, so we were pushing him safer funds. We were pushing him low risk funds. Whereas when you move towards a premium customer, we know his requirements are different because he wants to invest in risky funds and invest more and earn more. So we were sending him different context of content through via emails and different trigger points in the lifetime. So um, that actually worked well with us, and we started focusing on different age brackets as well. So it could be possible if you see on the screen, what we did was that we started smart segmenting the segments further by age, by investment amount, and further. So we knew for a fact it's just not customers who have open account and not investing with us. We needed to make sure that the age bracket as well, so that we can have programmatic um, targeting. So we know for a fact if his age, as per the age, how can we actually reach out, even for gender bifurcation, for location bifurcation. So we had a lot of segmentation that was going on. And based on that, you can see in the slide, we had further segmentation going on for the customers.
Mhm.
So this was a mix of different trigger points that actually enable us to create segments for the customers.
That's great. Now you have defined the relevant segmentation. You were able to create some relevant journeys, personalized journey for them. Now, once those journeys were in place, what kind of results were you able to see? And not in just terms of customer engagement, also in terms of the business impact.
Yeah, so there was a significant impact. So let me pull up a slide. So we had overall when we were actually utilizing campaigns. So we it was a journey that we had to go through, understanding how the customer actually works. We did a lot of A/B testing. We did a lot of variation emails, push notifications, which actually works, which doesn't work. And then with the help of AI as well, we could able to mold our content in a better way. So overall, when we talk about it, there was an 83% improvement in the account funding ratio. So one of the KPIs is how many people have opened an account and how many people are actually investing with us. So there was an 83% improvement since we onboarded Dengage and started the journeys with them. Uh, Similarly, we had a 30% improvement in the average transaction size. So if people were investing less, they started investing more, because once we started these journeys, we started spinning them. How can you earn more? And this is the right time to invest. We also had a 4x growth in the investment from the segmented email journeys. So if I take you one slide up, yeah. So what we did was that we started implementing the smartest segmentation for email. So this email is one of the best working emails that we had. So you can see the regular investment that we have coming from the segment was almost about, just a minute. Yes, it was almost about 10 million or around 1.4 million, 14 million. But when we did the smart segmentation, we saw 4x growth within the same segment. And that was one of the biggest significant growth that we could see just through the email journey. And overall, there was a very strong engagement improvement in the younger audiences and the first time investors as well.
Mhm. Okay. So that's great to see actually. And how did this transformation affect your team's productivity or internal workflows?
So there was, it just helped us save a lot of time, because I told you if we
Mhm.
started doing manual pushes, that was a big nightmare, because we can't create so many segments and start sending out emails to every segment. We have to create content for every segment, which is different. So catering the needs, and we start creating segments and start pushing them manually. That was a big nightmare. So once we fed the system all the content and everything. So if you just sit back and watch the whole automation work, there was a increase of 60% of improvement in the operational efficiency overall, which was significant for us because we could focus on making further journeys as well.
Mhm.
There was a significant reduction in manual email campaign workload overall. We could launch more campaigns with fewer resources. We don't need to have so many resources anymore because we fed the system different manuals, different content widgets, and everything. So it was working all in all, and a better collaboration team with the marketing and the digital teams for content creation as well. So overall, I would say there was a significant improvement in 60% of the whole operational efficiency.
And uh, were there any surprising insights or unexpected wins that came out of this initiative? If you would be able to explore on
Yeah.
those.
Yeah. So while we were creating journeys for customers, so these were very personalized, right? So we got a lot of customer responded to these personalized emails really well, because we knew when the changes are occurring, and we made sure that based on those changes, we were reaching out to the customer. When we reached out to the customers were pretty excited, because we knew for a fact that the customer lifestyle or his investment need has changed, and we were targeting, or we were actually sending the same email. So that way the customer that not only helped us in putting us away from the spam emails, it also made us clear that the customers were able to open ratio increase, and then the customers responding really well. We knew for a fact that he checked out the funds, but he did not invest. He checked out the returns, but he did not invest. We knew for a fact.
Mhm.
So based on those triggers, these are just a few of the triggers. So we knew for a fact that we need to send him out that he's watching on a particular fund, and now is the right time to invest. So we knew when to send him the right context. So these were the surprising insights when we were sending them very personalized emails. Customers were reacting and investing.
Why was Dengage best choice, and what advice would you give to another financial brand looking to scale their personalization or automations in a CRM?
See, first of all, as I told you before as well, we did a lot of research.
Yeah.
We based our research on somebody or a tool that could understand our business and our KPIs that we're trying to achieve, and that was one of the most fundamental thing because most of the digital companies think that everything is e-commerce and we just have to sell the customer, but we don't have to sell the customer. We have to take the customer along the journey and grow with the company, right? So best thing about Dengage was that they understood the customer journey from the start to the delivering of the first campaign. That enabled us to actually explore the different sort of segments that we could come up with. So, when you look at the segments that we have, they're very different from a traditional. Because, see, if I take you back on the slide,
Yeah.
it just starts with a premium, platinum, and a gold and a silver customer, but it goes down to different segments. And see, this is something that we wanted to understand how can we actually engage every customer in the right time.
Okay.
And this was happening with de-engage because the KPI was understood well, and it didn't. And the rest of the tools that we were looking in, they had very less flexibility around. They could change the KPIs. They just had more towards open ratios and how a segment could be upgraded, but it never had a real-time automation running. Plus, the onboarding process was really quick. In less than 3 months, we initiated our first campaign because we wanted quick results. Obviously, everybody in the industry right now, I mean, even if you're e-commerce or if you're any other company, you really need a tool that can be onboarded quickly, and initiate the first campaign because time is all about, time is the essence when it comes to running campaigns. So it took us less than 3 months, if I'm not wrong, and we launched our first campaign. We did a lot of A/B testing and came down to the conclusion that how we upgraded our campaigns just in a month to running. I think about more than 100 automations are running right at the moment as we speak. So we're just sitting back and looking at the whole dashboard, and we can see the results coming in. So this is one of the things that made de-engage the best choice for us. And if you ask me about an advice that I should be giving to the customers, first thing is first, you need to understand the objective that you're trying to achieve. A lot of people that I've spoken to in the industry, they're unclear. They think just sending out an email is just does the job. It doesn't work that way. You need to understand the customer. You need to understand your KPI, and then you need to combine the objective with the customer and how to sell the best thing to the customer. Again, one fit for all content doesn't exist. So you need to be really sure that it takes up time. So to understand the customer, and then create the content around it. But once that is done, it just works like magic. The customer segment is changing, the customer segment is upgrading. You can see the lifestyle upgrade in your KPIs, in the dashboards, and it's just amazing. So first thing is just to understand the customers, and then what sort of objectives you're trying to achieve. Then onboard the tool, and once you have the tool, it doesn't just mean that you just use one of the services. Explore the entire tool, explore every service that they offer. Based on that, then you can really excel or really upgrade the objective that you're trying to achieve.
Thank you so much for your insights. And that brings us to the end of today's session. Big shout out to Monis and the team at MCB Funds for sharing your journey with such honesty, the challenges you faced, the strategies you devised, and the impressive results you have gained. Now, I hope today's session and everyone gave everyone some practical insights into how CDP, smart segmentation, and marketing automation can drive real business impact, not just in finance, but in any industry focused on customer engagement. Now, if you would like to explore how Dengage can support your personalization or automation strategy, we'd love to connect. You can reach out to us directly or simply book us a demo. Thank you again for joining today. Until next time, take care, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you,
Thank
Monis.
you. Thank you.